You ever feel like your voice gets caught before you actually say something? Like you're ready to speak. You're ready to give your opinion. You're ready to present in that class, and it's just like, nope, nope. I have nothing else to say. I have nothing to say. I don't even have the first thing to say. I'm scared. I can sympathize with that. Let me tell you a personal story. I was a freshman in college and I won the amateur night competition. And I'm thinking, this is great, it's gonna be cool. And as a freshman, I felt good about it because I'm like, okay, maybe this is gonna like up my street cred in college. I mean, I thought so. But then one of the organizers of one of the clubs was like, hey, we heard you did well with the amateur night competition. I want you to speak at this like club student area in the multi-purpose room for all these people. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is gonna be easy. Like, I'm gonna have no issue with this. Mind you, yes, this was 10 years ago, but I'm like, yeah, no, I can do this. This is gonna be fine. And I walked up on that stage. I told myself, yeah, I got this. Pfft, please, we got this. Yeah. But as I was walking up, I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do this. Can I back out now? But I'm like, this is like a full room of people. I couldn't really do that. So I got up, I took the mic, and I just went like, uh, and I didn't say anything. I was mortified. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like that's you too. I feel like you are ready, you prepare, but then when it's game season, when it's time to do it, when it's showtime, it just doesn't translate. And I'll tell you this, right? We gotta step back and think about what happened. Fear. Fear makes people shrink. Fear makes people mumble. Fear makes people disconnect. Fear just makes you feel like you shouldn't be heard at all. And that fear can be mental. That fear can be physical. That fear can just be something that you feel in the pit of your soul. But at the end of the day, it's not tangible. It's not really real. So if we can overcome this fear, we do better. If I could overcome that fear when I had presented at the actual multi-purpose room event, I think I'd be fine. I wouldn't have any issue. I would have been able to rock that stage and perform my skit in front of all these people. But fear made it so I just turned around after like a couple of minutes of awkward confrontation from the audience and with the audience, and I just walked off. That was short. That was embarrassing. And that was only because I was fearful. So we have to really reframe this. When you think about speaking powerfully, and as an educator of over a decade of experience, I've learned this very simple, straightforward tactic and truth. And that is this: the truth is, speaking powerfully isn't about being fearless. It's about showing up anyway. It's about doing it scared, regardless of what's happening. And the tactic is what we're going to be exploring in this video. So, the first tactic, the first point is you have to reframe fear as energy. We have to normalize nervousness. Like, I understand you are quaking in your boots, you're shaking, you're sputtering, you're all over the place. And most people would tell you, hey, don't feel that way. But that's negating the fact that you feel it. What, are you going to just bottle it in until you're in front of all the people, and when you're basically exposed to this new environment, you're just going to not be scared anymore? That's not how this works. For you, you have to understand this truth. Every great speaker feels nerves. They feel fear. But again, the difference here is that they're doing it anyway. So you have to normalize the fact that you're just going to feel these things. It's perfectly fine. And again, I'm not talking about you're going to be on some huge stage next week. That may not be your case. You might have to give a class presentation. You may have to be able to speak at a PD. You might have to raise your hand and realize that everyone is staring at you. And trust me, they are. But you have to normalize the fact that that's okay. That's perfectly fine. And again, every person that has been able to conquer this, not avoiding it, but going through it, has emerged on the other side more successfully. You got to be able to do this scared. You have to transform this fear into focus. Everything is scary, but I'm like locked in. And one of the physical cues you can consider is that your body's like actual reaction to this stuff is similar to excitement. It's wild to consider the fact that fear and anxiety are one and one when it comes to feeling. So when it comes to feeling, you have fear, you have anxiety. The body doesn't know if it's good or bad because we think about the fight or flight response. But it's still a response. It comes from one feeling. So your body, you have to train it in such a way where you can recognize the fact that this fear is healthy and that I'm going to take this fear and I'm going to have the faith to move forward. That's the best way to go about it. And if you are thinking about the fact that you have to be in front of people or people are going to be looking at you, you can also do this breathing technique to regulate yourself. And it's where you take in 4 seconds, hold for 7, and then release in 8. And just recenter yourself. It's going to be okay. Yes, I'm terrified right now, but I'm going to be terrific by the time I'm ending this. So you have to be able to reframe it. Perspective shifting, that mindset is going to be all important. Number 2, project. Don't perform. So speaking with power is going to be very effective. You have to speak with authority, not as if you have just a loudspeaker. Speaking with power is not yelling. It's not acting either. And again, as a performer myself, I understand the fact that sometimes you have to, put on a face, but sometimes being authentic in your actual, being is very important. So here's a tactic that works beautifully. Speak to the back of the room with warmth. Again, we have yelling and we have projecting. So with yelling, obviously, you're barking at the back of the room, and that's not effective. Projecting is raising your voice from the diaphragm, from the pit, and being able to project like a projector, project your voice outwardly so that people can actually understand you. Like if I'm going there, in this metaphorical back of the room. You want to be able to do that. So projecting is important. And you got to do it in a way where you're not performing it. Because if you practice for the sake of performing your authenticity, then you're not going to really get anywhere. And for exercise, stand, plant feet. Again, breathe from the diaphragm. Repeat your name 3 times. And be stronger each and every time. Another practice that I recommend is something that I affectionately call Lesson 0. You are in front of the mirror and you say, "Hi, my name is," your name. "It's very nice to meet you. This is going to be a great day." And saying that. Now, that could be affirmation for you. That could be a motivational thing for you. That can very well just be something to help you with you speaking. And this drill that you do every day, you'd be surprised what happens. I mean, I tell my students all the time, whenever you're competing in speech and debate, whenever you're competing in these competitions, your round 1, your first performance should not really be during the performance. It should be during practice. It should be when you're still in the workroom. It should be when you're still training. Because once you're ready to perform, there's no time to practice. And remember, power is when you're rooted. It's when you're grounded. It's when you're clear and not loud and fast, because you kind of just lose momentum by trying to pick up your momentum. And number 3, perform for connection and not for perfection. Listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, in this state, this is just me being authentic. I'm not out here trying to get all of the lights and these projector screens and all of this stuff. It's just not necessary for this season. So what does this look like? Many people, they overthink the script whenever they're like, looking at an act or a play that they have to do. When they're reading during class and they have to like read aloud, they're worried about every single period, every comma, every decimal of a number that just happens to be there in the middle of the second paragraph. And it's like everything is a freak of nature to them. It's scary. But I say this to tell you that you can't think about it that way, because you're going to lose your mind. It's just another thing. Your mindset has to be present, not to be perfect. And if you're present, you're going to win. You're going to be just fine. So when you want to warm up, you need to practice eye contact with people. Now, I know that's crazy to consider because we don't like looking at people in the eyes anymore. But consider what would happen if you actually practice looking at people in the eyes, looking at yourself in the mirror, eye to eye, or eye to mirror eye. Like, what does that look like specifically? And intentional pausing. Because when we're scared, when we're nervous, we just feel like, okay, if I vomit all this information out right now, then it'll literally be over quick. And it's not going to help make you effective. Think about this. Say your key message, whatever you're trying to do. Now, your key message is not just, I'm going to be speaking from a keynote perspective. It could very well be, my key message is, I have to read this aloud in class. My key message is, I have to say this during the PD. I have to make this ask to my boss, my colleague, my student. I have to do this. And I have to make sure that I speak from a place of authority and not anger. That I speak from a place where I'm not yelling. Because otherwise, I'm not really going to get that yes. So that means practicing this with a friend. Even things that seem trivial. Like, why am I practicing to read aloud? In order to work on your confidence. That's what you need to be doing. And do this while breathing and pausing. Your voice is a work of art. And I mean, we can talk about stems. We can talk about what it means when you look at those waves when you're watching an MP3 or a MIDI file on your laptop or computer. You see that there is wavelengths when it comes to your voice. So you want to make sure that you're manipulating it in such a way where you know when you speak, how you speak, for how long, before you take a moment to rest so that you command the way that you speak. It's very important. So thinking about this, I want you to just take away this. Powerful speakers is not just simply professional. It's a skill, not a gift, which means you have to work and practice on it. But you're just not born with the automatic need and possible power to speak. You just don't have it innately. You have to work on it daily. And for the small things, because small things stack up and then they become big things. Don't wait until they're big. Don't wait until, like me, you're at the front of the multi-purpose room about to give that speech to actually start working on some of these confidence tactics, because you are going to regret it, and I regretted it. It's just not a good idea. And start with breathing. You don't breathe. And it is absolutely a necessity for you to do so. So last thing I'm going to tell you, this is my CTA, my call to action, the thing I'm going to be telling you to do. And if you can do it, that'd be awesome. Record yourself saying a message that matters to you and keep it. Remind yourself to look at it on a regular basis, because you're keeping an archive of yourself. And you're going to see yourself getting better each and every time you record that message. And do it in one take. As I would say, one take, no remake. What does it look like for you to do it in one take, post it, and tell me in the comments how it felt? And ultimately, another thing is like, subscribe, and tag a friend who's afraid to speak up. Because at the end of the day, we can do a lot together. But that's my time. I'm so glad to have been with you. And let's remember to always do it scared so that we can do it successfully. Take care.